Brett Who, please come to the stage. Now this guy, he's a very funny guy. I've known this guy for a long time. He's traveled across the United States from LA to Athens and New York to Florida. This guy, his name makes me think of an Abbott Costello joke. I don't know if you can remember the one, but here he is, Brett Who. Who? Brett Who.
Yeah! What's up, my crackers? Oh, yeah! White power! Electrical cables are on sale at Walmart this week for $12.99 each. It sells over Saturday, so please limit 2 per customer. And remember, Walmart, always. So, my name's Brett Who. I want you to say it with me. My name's Brett. 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 Who? Awesome. I'll tell you a little about myself. My life is kind of strange and crazy. Much knows I've been doing comedy and music for a long time. Recently I was walking down right here by Little Italy to get some pizza. And I come around the corner and suddenly there's King Kong. And I was like, whoa, Kong! What up, my gorilla? And he just goes, ugh. And I was like, I hear you, man. I was like, you're always a good listener, Kong. I was like, I didn't tell you something, man. I was like, my life's been tough lately. I was like, my girl ain't been treating me right. My job ain't paying me enough. My life's going hard. I got bills to pay. I was like, what do I do, Kong, man? What do I do, my gorilla? He looks down and he goes, ugh. I don't know, man. I'm just an imaginary gorilla. And it was about that time I realized I was crazy. But I'm too poor to afford therapy, so I gotta talk to imaginary gorillas. And Kong listens very well. And that's what I realized, you know, poor people, they can't afford therapy, man. I'm pretty poor. Y'all probably know what I'm talking about. There's probably a few poor people out here tonight. But poor people cannot afford therapy. And then you got Obama up there saying, Obama's like, hey, you can get the Affordable Health Care Act for a little less than $100 a month. I'm like, a little less than $100 a month? I'm like, dude, most people are making $8 an hour. You want me to pay a little less than $100? If you're talking $99 less than $100, I'm with you. But you want me to pay for this stuff. It probably wouldn't even get me therapy anyway. You know, couldn't afford it. But look, I did not get Obamacare. I did not sign up. You can tell them because I'm a rebel. I'm a rebel. I stand up to the man. I will not sign up for Obamacare, okay? You tell them I said so. Yes! The thing about that though is that with Obamacare is that, you know, if you can't even afford therapy and you know you probably dental insurance sucks and everything, what about if you're a deformed person? You know, you've got a bad extremity, your arms look funny, like Popeye. What about Popeye, man? Is this guy the strangest guy ever? I mean, he's the only guy I've ever seen that is named after his own deformity. His name is Popeye. And if you look at this guy, it's pretty crazy. He's got one eye closed like this, and I was like, whoa, lock me down. Yeah, and not only is that crazy about him, but he's got these crazy arms. His top part of his arm is about that big around. He's got this little bicep goes whoop. Then he's got this other forearm that's just like bam. You know, so he's got a little bicep whoop, little forearm bam. And I don't know how these things stay on. How's he walk around? He's like, oh, it's just too much. And so I don't know how he can exist like this. So the only girl that Popeye gets is Olive Oil. Okay? And Olive Oil, let me tell you, I don't know if you've seen the show, but that is a trifling skeezer. Have you seen this show? One minute she's with Popeye, she's like, oh Popeye, I love you, you're so good, Popeye, I love you. Next minute, as soon as he turns his back, she's over here with Bluto. She's like, oh Bluto. And he's like, Hey Alden, how are you doing? Yeah, I'm doing good. Well, then comes along Popeye and he sees him, and Alden realizes that she sees, he's like, oh Popeye, he's trying to take me, Popeye, it's him doing it. He's like, wow, I'm gonna get me spinach. And he runs off. Then she goes back to Bluto and she's like, oh Bluto. He's like, why'd you say that, Alden? She's like, oh, I was just saying that so he'd go away. He's like, well, if he comes back, I'm gonna give him the old 1-2 kapow. She's like, oh, all of a sudden, here goes Popeye. She sees him again, she's like, oh, Popeye, Bluto's trying to get me, and he's like, oh, I got me spinach. And all of a sudden, Popeye turns into like a jet plane or something. He crashes into Bluto. Boom! And then Bluto falls down, he gets right back up. Popeye turns into a tank, and he's like, and he just starts zapping, and Bluto just blows up. And the cartoon ends. But then, the strangest thing, the next time the Popeye cartoon comes on, there's all three of them. Popeye, that tramp Olive, and that psycho Bluto. Which made me figure out was that Popeye really is a deformed guy, but he's in a mental institution. And he's laying in bed, and the nurse every day brings along little medicine, little pills in a cup, and she gives them to him, and he grabs the pill, he's like, oh, me spinach! Whoa, blow me down. And that's because Popeye's deformed on Obamacare. Alright. So, what I noticed, a while back, I had told my mom that I had started doing stand-up comedy. And she said, oh, I'm really proud of you, you know. I remember you used to do Saturday Night Live skits and stuff, and I always thought that was funny. You should keep doing it. Well, the next day, she sends me an email. She says, you know, Dad and I were talking about all the funny things you used to do as a kid. And, well, I just thought I'd send you some in case you wanted to use them in your comedy act. And I was like, oh, great. Now my mom's trying to help me write my material. I was like, man, it can't get much worse than this. Maybe she thinks I'm like running out of stuff to, you know, talk about or whatever. And man, I was glad she sent that email because about that time I was running out of things to talk about. And so I read it, and sure enough, she reminded me of something. When I was a kid, I was in 3rd grade, and I'm in the lunchroom. And as I'm in the lunchroom, this kid comes up to me in the lunch line. And he's, all right, y'all shut up. We're trying to do a comedy here. Y'all be quiet and listen. Thank you. So we get back to the lunch line, and Sean comes up to me, and he says, hey, Brett, you seem like a nice guy. And I was like, thanks, man. He goes, let me ask you a question. If Jack helped you off the horse, would you help Jack off the horse? And I was like, well, yeah, man. I mean, it's the right thing to do, right? I mean, he's being a nice guy. Of course you're going to help him back out. And so everybody starts laughing, right? And I'm like, man, all these kids start laughing. And I'm like, what? Why are y'all laughing? I mean, are y'all mean or something? You're not nice people? You wouldn't help Jack after he helped you? I mean, Jack helped you off the horse. You wouldn't help Jack off the horse? And they're all laughing at me. And finally, I was like, you know what? Y'all just mean people. You're not helpers. Well, let me tell you what, I became a helper. And ever since I helped that day, my horse Jack has never treated me better. All right, so 2 more things. I don't know if y'all saw this, but Marilyn Manson is coming to the Georgia Theater. All right? For only $75. Yep. I don't know about that, but if I've got an extra $75, maybe I'm going for Obamacare. But so Marilyn Manson's coming to the theater, which tells me something. See, back in the 90s, Manson was huge, man. We saw him, you know, in Jacksonville, Florida with 9 Inch Nails for $25. So this tells you something. 20 years later, this guy is coming to Georgia Theater, and he's charging $75. That tells you that someone's career is on the decline, It's going down. And so he's coming here, and you gotta understand, see, in the 90s, we saw the skinny Marilyn Manson. He did a crazy show, stuck mic up his butt and everything, it was wild. Then, he gets all fat, he's like Elvis. You got skinny Manson, now you're getting fat Manson for 75 bucks. This dude has been sitting on the couch too long, eating Cheetos. He's all, the beautiful Cheetos, the beautiful Cheetos, beautiful Cheetos, the beautiful Cheetos. You know, that's what he's been spending his money on, so now he's charging you 75 bucks to see this stuff. But what's funny about Manson is that in the 90s, in late 98, they tried to blame this dude for Columbine. I don't know if y'all remember Columbine. Kids got shot up at school, some crazy kids in trench coats. They tried to blame this on Marilyn Manson. They're like, man, you can't blame rock groups for this kind of stuff because, you know, they're just making music and stuff like that. But when I was in school, you know, I'm not even telling kids to stay in school. I'm not telling kids to stay in school. You might get shot.